Welcome back to another episode of Timeless Tales. I'm your host, bringing you stories that echo through the ages, tales of triumph, tragedy, and the shadows in between. Tonight we plunge into the wild heart of the Amazon, where one man's life became a ledger of death. His name is Julio Santana, over 500 kills, a rifle as his pen and blood as his ink. He's been called the deadliest hitman the world has ever known. But how did a boy from a riverside shack become a legend of slaughter? And what happened when the bullets finally stopped? Grab a seat, because this is no ordinary story. It's a timeless tale of guilt, survival, and a justice that never came. Julio Santana was born into poverty in 1954 in a remote village along the Araguaia River in Brazil's Amazon rainforest. Life here was simple. His family lived in a hut, surviving off fishing and hunting. Julio was good with a rifle, a sharpshooter, even as a teen. But he never dreamed of killing men. That changed on August 6, 1971. He was just 17. His first kill was a man named Antonio Martins, known as Yellow. A 38-year-old fisherman, Yellow had raped a 13-year-old girl from a nearby village. Her father turned to Julio's uncle, Cicero Santana, a military policeman with a dark side job, contract killing. Cicero was sick with malaria, so he handed the job to Julio. Aim for the heart, he told him. Imagine it's just an animal. For 3 hours, Julio watched Yellow on his boat. Then he fired. The look of terror on Yellow's face as he fell into the river haunted Julio for decades. That kill wasn't just murder, it was initiation. Cicero saw potential in Julio and pulled him into a world of paid assassinations. In the lawless Amazon, where ranchers and locals settled scores with bullets, hitmen thrived. Julio's fate was sealed. From 1971 to 2006, Julio Santana became a machine of death. He killed over 500 people. Politicians, gold miners, cheating spouses, anyone with a price on their head. He kept a notebook, meticulously recording each hit. Who hired him, where it happened, how much he was paid, usually $60 to $80 a job, barely above Brazil's minimum wage. He stopped counting at 492, but the bodies kept piling up. One of his early high-profile jobs came in the 1970s during the Araguaia guerrilla conflict. The Brazilian military dictatorship was fighting communist insurgents in the Amazon. Julio, still a teen, was hired as a guide and killer. In one mission, he tracked down Jose Genuino, a student leader of the guerrillas. Julio captured him, watching as soldiers tortured Genuino with waterboarding. His reward? A bottle of Coca-Cola, a rare luxury for his poor family. Later, he killed Maria Lucia Petit, a 22-year-old school teacher and guerrilla fighter. She vanished in 1972, listed as disappeared for nearly 2 decades until her body was found in a mass grave, wrapped in a parachute. Her family fought a truth commission to uncover the truth. Julio was the trigger man. These weren't personal vendettas. They were contracts, but each death chipped away at him. Julio wasn't just a lone gunman. He worked for ranchers, politicians, even ordinary people seeking revenge. One story stands out. He killed a cheating wife, only to be caught by police. To escape, he bribed them with a motorcycle. That's when he realized his uncle Cicero had been skimming most of the profits, leaving Julio with scraps. They fought, and Julio cut ties with him for good. Despite the bloodshed, Julio wasn't a cold-blooded psychopath. He was a devout Christian, praying after every kill. 10 Hail Marys, 20 Our Fathers, just as Cicero taught him. He believed God forgave him, but the guilt gnawed at him. I thought I'd go to hell, he later said. By 2006, at age 52, he'd had enough. His wife, the love of his life, pushed him to stop. Without her, he said, I'd be nothing. So he quit, retreating to a quiet life growing vegetables in Porto Franco, Brazil. But here's the twist. Julio Santana was never formally caught. Not in the way you'd expect. No dramatic arrest, no handcuffs, no trial. How does a man with 500 kills walk away? The Amazon's lawlessness helped. Little oversight, corrupt officials, bribes like that motorcycle. And his meticulous records? He kept them private, only sharing his story years later with journalist Clester Cavalcanti. In 2018, Cavalcanti published The Name of Death, based on 7 years of phone interviews with Julio. The book, and a 2017 Brazilian film, brought his story to light, but there's no record of Julio facing justice. Brazil's overburdened legal system, combined with the Amazon's shadowy underbelly, let him slip through. Some speculate he cut deals or stayed too low profile to prosecute. Others say his crimes, spread over decades in jurisdictions, were too tangled to pin down. Julio, now in his 70s, lives quietly, his neighbors oblivious to his past. He said he's happy with Cavalcanti's honest telling, but disliked the film's glamorized take. There's no death penalty in Brazil, and no clear statute of limitations chased him down. His punishment, he claims, is his conscience. The faces of Yellow, Maria Lucia, and hundreds more etched into his nightmares. Julio Santana's story isn't black and white. He wasn't a hero or a villain, just a man shaped by circumstance, poverty, and a rifle in his hands. Over 500 lives ended because of him, yet he escaped the gavel. Was justice served, or does it linger in the guilt he carries? Tell us what you think in the comments. And if you want more true crime from the edges of the world, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.